Welcome back to Han Took Shots First. This installment, we're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, episodes 1 and 2. I'm Derrick.
I'm Jack.
The time of the Jedi is over.
We lost.
As I said at the top, we're discussing, I guess it's part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, every episode is listed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have names. They're just parts. Because it's one big, long movie.
I mean, it is. And I like rewatching it right now. I almost wanted to continue it.
Yeah.
Because it is much. I think the Acolyte's going to be the same thing. You know, when I rewatch it in 6 to 12 months, I'm going to do it all in one fucking sitting, and it's going to be much more cohesive.
Or in 2 years like this.
Or in 2 years. I'm enjoying it much more. I'll tell you what I didn't need, though.
What's that?
The recap.
Yeah.
This was a non-super cut of the prequels.
It started with and it said a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I was like, hey, we haven't gotten that in any TV show.
And I couldn't remember. I was like, are we going to get the fucking fanfare title?
Yeah.
And we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Because it's not an episoded movie.
But as I was watching this previously on fucking stinger reel at the beginning here, I was like, oh, well, why'd we watch all those movies?
Yeah. So this is basically, you made this series for people that have not watched the prequels.
Yeah. I guess to catch up the younglings.
If you don't want to rewatch, people like me and you are just going to do it anyway.
They're like, in case you don't remember what happened. So Obi-Wan trained Anakin, and then he cut his legs off, the end.
And then Padme died, and then blah, blah, blah.
And it's talking about how awesome Obi-Wan is, and how he's wiser than Yoda and all that stuff.
More
and I'm like,
powerful than Mace Windu.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, but in this, he's just a big crybaby.
Yeah. Well, he's depressed.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when this came out, had a problem with the way they portrayed Obi-Wan. And I get it. You wanted to see adventures. You wanted to see Obi-Wan go and do things that we only could imagine in the original trilogy.
This is a common theme that seems to piss people off because, so you have Obi-Wan, we see when he's working at this meat packing plant or whatever, they're harvesting this corpse or whatever.
I'm guessing
they're doing.
a lesser crate dragon.
Okay. Yeah,
they
definitely have this thing set up outside of a giant creature and they're just going in and pulling out chunks of meat. But when he's leaving and that guy's being an asshole, the foreman, and he looks like he wants to do something, but then he just walks away and it's okay, you can see he's defeated and he's trying to do whatever. And then we had that in The Last Jedi where Luke is like, hey, fuck all this shit. It's stupid. And he's kind of lost his connection the same way Obi-Wan has here.
Yeah.
And I feel like it happened one other place too.
I mean, I find more qualms with Luke Skywalker doing that because he is supposed to be the, I don't know, fucking grand, what do you call it? The
Grand Dragon.
The Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan.
No, they've got hoods. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that Mace Windu's not part of the Klan, dude. But no, he is the Grand Master of the Jedi Order at that point, and that one bugs me more. But I do understand
To be fair, he is the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, which consists of him.
No, it didn't though.
By the time of Last Jedi?
By the time of Last Jedi, it's all wiped out. But I mean, he abandoned all the other Force sensitives that he was gonna have in his academy.
Yeah.
He abandoned all the kids that, were on their way to be there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to that episode in 2 years.
Bottle that up.
But, there's the whole Ben thing, and he gave up. And
sure. I think for me, so what I see from Obi-Wan is my life is pretty much forfeit. The Jedi are done, but Luke Skywalker's not. My life is forfeit, so I'm going to be the ultimate caretaker now. I'm not going to fly off the handle and beat up this guy who's clearly fucking over people, because then I'll get found out, and then Luke will get found out, and then I'll take Luke.
And I think it also at that point his thing is he's like, look, I've got these books and stuff. I am protecting them.
Yeah.
So no one reads them.
Wait,
right?
books?
Isn't that what happened? Didn't he have books and stuff in that little temple?
Oh, yeah. The only time paper ever exists in Star Wars is the Book of the Wills.
Paper.
Paper is paper.
But that's a different movie. We'll get there.
You know how old those books must be to be made out of paper in Star Wars?
He's got to put on white gloves to read them, and he doesn't have white gloves on that weird Irish island he's hanging out on. So
Octua.
But this, as all of these episodes, is directed by Deborah Chow, who has directed a bunch of TV. She had like a movie in her thing.
She did Mandalorian episodes, if I'm not wrong.
She did 2 episodes of Mandalorian, Chapter 3 and Chapter 7.
Okay.
So The Sin and The Reckoning. And I don't remember what they are. The IMDb like little photo of the episodes, because I didn't go in and look which ones they were.
I feel like The Reckoning is the one where IG suicide bombs, and that's a really good episode.
Well, they're both season 1. That's season 2, isn't it?
No, that's 1.
Is it 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the little pictures on the one on The Sin is the armor, so that might be when he gets kicked out for a little while there or something. And then The Reckoning, the picture is Giancarlo Esposito just looking angry. But he's definitely
so that is it, because they go through, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's how they get away. Anyway, we'll talk about that in 2 years.
That'll be not even longer. That'll be before we get to Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the order these things go in.
It's after the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Which that's what we're trying to get to, guys, is the meat.
We're doing this whole thing, this whole experiment, so we can talk about 4, 5, and 6.
Get ready for long ones. So yeah, after we get the recap, I want to say we opened up to what I think is some fucking fantastic lightsaber work. You've got the younglings with their, what we now kind of know are a little bit of the deprivation things.
Yeah, the little training helmets.
Yeah.
And this Jedi has a name.
Okay.
So she must be from literature.
Legends.
Mina Svelti.
Yeah, it's not ringing a bell for me, but...
Like this, because this character is gone in this scene.
With gusto, though.
Yeah.
You notice, like, she is jumping up, like, and backhanding these fucking
she does more work against these clone troopers than anyone in the prequel movies. Because in the prequel movies, when Order 66 gets kicked off, these clone troopers are just mowing down these Jedi with no like resistance.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I actually, dude, I like this scene that we're about to get to, where she's on top of the bridge trying to defend the younglings, and on both sides you can see the lower level, and it is just Jedi trying to hold their own, and like you just said, doing more than what we normally see. Yeah. But each of them fall just by sheer fucking numbers, and it's brutal.
Yeah,
you know. And so she dies, and that you hear one of the younglings like, "What do we do? Or run?"
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, like the first time you ever watched this, did you think like that's Reva?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like once we saw her, I was like, oh, she's one of those younglings.
Exactly.
That's what I was just going to ask you. I was like, is that what happened? Because I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But I remember thinking that while watching it. So.
Oh, yeah, that's what happens.
And then we go to Tatooine, which is...
Again.
I went to Tatooine again.
It just cracks me up. Like, I know we're way off topic again.
Star Wars is always on Tatooine.
But they say it's such an insignificant planet. Like in episode 4, like the reason that Luke is there is because nothing ever happens. And all of a sudden it's like, but everything there happens.
Well, it was insignificant until they decided to hide Luke there.
Yeah.
And then it became the center of the galaxy.
I guess.
But I was reading that they did go back to Tunisia and shoot there, which is pretty cool. Because a lot of this was shot on the volume or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, the volume. Which I love.
I think it's a great piece of technology.
Yeah, we've gushed about it before, so we won't bring it back up.
Yeah, and I was watching some behind the scenes stuff, which... I have this on the 4K release that they did, and it's weird because on disc 1, which has episodes 1, 2, and 3, they have stuff about the battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, which is like episode 6.
That's the culmination.
Those should be on the second disc, but whatever. They're assuming if you bought the discs, you've seen the show.
You've already seen, or if you're watching the special features, it's because you already wrapped up watching the show.
But they talk a lot about like the set design and stuff. So they had the volume, but they also had sets built. Or at least maybe that was within the volume, because she's talking about like when they're in that room where there's like the water on the floor, like there's like that pool in the middle of the room thing where they're in like that control room, whatever it is. I can't remember the details because it's been 2 years since I watched the show, but like all that was really there. And she's like, it's nice because like there's shadows being cast and there's things you can see.
I think that is building sets on the volume, but that's not to say, because you already just said they went back to Tanzania.
Yeah,
Tunisia.
I mean, to quote somebody else on a different podcast that I listened to, it's nice when light hits objects.
You're not wrong.
So
I mean, we talk about on our other podcast how it sucks. Well, I'll just give an example of Rampage, how it's like that CG doesn't look terrible, but it's not there.
Yeah.
It's very clearly not there. So when light's hitting objects, when shadows are being cast, that's attention to detail.
Yeah. And this menacing ship arrives, which is the Inquisitor ship. So it's meant to be menacing. It's Imperial.
This is the name of the game for the Inquisitors, dude. It's intimidation, show of force, and not really good at what they do.
And this is the first time I noticed, like, because I don't really, music is a big part of Star Wars, obviously. That's why John Williams is like
goated.
You know, yeah, he's lauded as one of the best movie composers ever to.
He's easily my favorite composer. Like, I know everyone's going to be like, well, what about Beethoven? What about rubbish? John Williams.
Beethoven never scored a Star Wars or an Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and Beethoven's son didn't start a fucking band called Toto. So, double points.
He was deaf, guys.
Yeah, so he didn't know what he was writing.
But I noticed the music this time around, and I was like, this music's pretty good. I was like, they didn't get John Williams for a Disney Plus show, though. So I went and looked it up.
Is it that...
No, it's a woman. It's not the dude from Mandalorian.
Okay.
That Lucas... something
Ludwig
Forenston. I don't know. We'll get there. But this is a woman named Natalie Holt. She did the music for both seasons of Loki also, so she's working with Disney, but she did a whole bunch of TV shows. Like she had like 70 credits or something in her IMDb for music. Or a bunch of movies, not TV shows, but I don't know any of them.
Okay.
But
to your
she's
point,
good.
though, the music it's setting a tone right here.
Way better than
how
Solo.
You're supposed to feel. Yeah, way better than Solo.
I think that's why I noticed, because we just discussed Solo, and that was fucking trash.
The lack of music. Not the movie being trash.
The music was trash.
So we got the third sister, who's Reva. We got the fifth brother, who we don't know his name, but played by Sung Kang.
Yes, Han from Fast and Furious.
There we go.
For all those who give a shit.
And then we have the Grand Inquisitor, played by Rupert Friend. Who is, we've talked about before, is a Powin. And I don't know if we can call it the elephant in the room. The stigma here with him is the changed look. His head is about half the length of what it should be for this character design.
Yeah, because in episode 3, we had the guy from Mad Max.
Bruce Spence.
Yeah. And he had the tall head. But I did a little bit of Googling, because I was like, someone out there made up a reason why this one looks different, right?
And Filoni
something species, but Filoni said it doesn't look good in live action. It's not a cartoon, but they already showed it in live action.
Yeah.
One of the people, it was a Reddit thread that I saw, and someone commented that apparently at a Star Wars Celebration Day panel, there was a costume designer who basically said he didn't know that it had been done in live action already, so he didn't do it that way. I'm like, slight research, guys.
Somebody could have fact checked that.
Yeah.
Like, you get someone who's a half a nerd and we're like, actually,
you need a continuity director, like, you know, something. Like, there's people who get paid to do this for a
I'll
living.
do it for free. Fuck, hit me up, dude. I'm bored.
But the Grand Inquisitor Rupert Friend, he's a late stage Wes Anderson guy.
Is he?
Yeah, he was in The French Dispatch, Asteroid City, The
Who's
Swan,
he in
the
Asteroid City?
Montana.
No, I'm not ringing a bell.
I can't remember. I only saw it the once in theaters.
Same. But that makes sense why you said late. Like, he's a later Wes Anderson. He's not hitting those early ones.
No, and he's in a couple of the shorts from the Henry Sugar thing, the Rat Catcher and the Swan. But
I like his performance. It's good. It's menacing, and I'm not going to try and compare it to Jason Isaacs is the voice for the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels. You know, like I kind of wanted them to cast him in live action, but I get it. It's two different things.
Yeah, that's what they did with Thrawn, right? Isn't that the guy who does him in the cartoons?
He is the guy that does the voice. I'm pretty sure. Mads Mikkelsen's brother.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
I can't think.
I've seen the guy's face on.
I can't think of his first name, but he's a Mikkelsen.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. But I'm like, I've seen his face. I watched Ahsoka. He's definitely Mikkelsen's brother. I do like the thing they're doing with is it the fifth brother?
Yeah,
I like the thing they're doing with his voice.
Yes, I don't like when he starts to get like yelling. But when he's just speaking, he's like,
well, and there's like that bass. I don't know if that's because you watched it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that was something I just didn't notice because maybe it wasn't coming through as well on streaming. But with the disc and everything, the bass hits every time he talks.
Two things new that happened since the first time I watched this. I wear glasses now. I've needed them, but I wear them now. So I was able to see things a lot crispier. And the second thing that happened is I got surround sound. So I think I'd probably just never heard it coming from my TV.
Yeah.
But this time with the surround sound, the subwoofer, I definitely was like, oh man, I think it's supposed to just be his species, but it's production-wise, it's modulated. And I like it. It's menacing.
It's kind of like the voice from Dune. Not to compare this to Dune again, but I will.
God, here he goes.
It's coming up again twice on this, so get ready. because they say the Dune Sea and they talk about spice. So,
oh yeah, they do.
Actually, I think it's the first time we see spice in action. Maybe the only time.
Yeah.
That's the second episode.
But we do get some of the names for it too. Like the glitter spice and stuff. Like these are all names that were in all the books. There wasn't just spice. It was spice could do different things to you. Sometimes it was medicinal. Think of like opiates, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
because
did you
we
want
see the
heroin,
spice dealer.
Oxycontin? Do you know who plays that spice dealer?
I do.
All right, let's go.
So they're hunting for a Jedi on Tatooine. Obviously, the first thought is they're looking for Obi-Wan. Which Reva is looking for, but that's not who they're for. The other ones are there for.
And it's showing you that she's of a sole focus, and it's not what they're supposed to. They're supposed to be. She's tired of chasing after scraps.
Yeah.
And Fifth Brother's like, that's all we fucking have is scraps. Like, this is our job.
Yeah. And I it's kind of weird, and I didn't watch Rebels or anything, so I don't know how they act in the show, but like in this, they're like offering rewards and trying to be intimidating but nice, kind of, to people.
This is because this is hut space.
Oh, okay, because it's not the
if they,
it's not the Empire.
I guarantee you, if they were, I don't know what's even like. Well, they go later to Dayu. If they went to somewhere like Dayu, or if this is, God forbid, they made to Coruscant, they do not need to offer rewards. They're gonna be like, guess what, dude? You're in jail.
Yeah.
Do you have any information?
Okay.
No. All right, go to jail.
Because Reva doesn't want to fuck with that. Right?
Yeah.
She's the one who she takes that knife and fucking just hucks it at the saloon owner.
I wanted to see the Hutts like send muscle, like, yo, dude, get the fuck off our territory. But I guess like, hey, we don't want to invite all-out war with the Empire.
Yeah,
they're leaving us alone. Let's just let them kill a couple barkeeps. We can replace them.
Yeah, we've got more guys who want to run a bar.
You want a dirty guy running a bar? I got 10 lined up.
Look, we got Timothy Oliphant out here in the desert. He wants to come back and run the bar.
Cobb Vanth Refrigeration.
The Jedi does stop the blade from hitting him, though, and I thought it was funny. This Jedi, so I recognized him, and I wasn't sure why.
Okay,
so I had to go and look him up. He's Axe. He's an actor, but he's also a writer and director.
Oh,
him and his brother Josh. So it's Benny and Josh Safdie, the Safdie brothers, who
not ringing a bell for me.
So they did the big things. They did. They did Good Time, which I know you and Whitney haven't seen. I've talked to you guys about it before. It's Robert Pattinson. It's a really good movie.
Okay.
And then they did Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
I never saw that one either.
Yeah, and they make very like disturbing, intense movies. And so it's just kind of funny to see him here as like it's his role is a little more fucked up because he gets strung up here at the end, but like it's a lighthearted kind of, it's a Disney fucking Star Wars romp.
Well, I remember this. So him showing, we didn't know it was him, obviously, but in the trailers leading up to this being released, we saw the image of people looking up at feet being suspended. And I remember everyone going, dude, it's not going to, no one's hung up there, hanged, I guess. Sorry. No one's hanged. It's someone being levitated. This is a Disney Plus show, guys. And sure as shit, he's not hanged by the neck, but he's strung up and dead.
Yeah, they killed him and strung his body up. They
are
warning.
displaying a dead body.
Yeah.
Before that, though, I just want to get to where he finds Obi-Wan in the desert, and it's like, dude, you gotta help me. I know you. You're Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's like, no, I'm Ben.
Dude, I love Obi-Wan doing this fucking history of violence thing. It's like, come on, Joey. I know you're Joey. He's like, I don't know who Joey is. I'm Tom, dude.
I'm Ben.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't even sound anything like Obi-Wan. I'm old Ben. But yeah, then this is where it's showing to me how depressed he is. Like, he's like, dude, look, our fight is over. Because this kid's like, what are we going to do? You got to help me. He's like, you want help? Bear your fucking lightsaber. It's done. Well, what about like the war? He's like, we fucking lost. The Jedi are over.
Yeah.
And it seems like what he's saying is not wrong. Because I think what's going to come from all this sequel trilogy is that the Jedi Order's done. Rey is a light side user. Maybe she's using the term Jedi, but Disney Plus, for good or bad, is trying to kind of get away from that dogmatic.
Well, and that's
narrowism.
What the Acolyte was doing, right? And at the time of recording this, we haven't seen the last 2 episodes of the Acolyte, just so you guys know, because times aren't going to quite line up.
Yeah, they'll be out by the time you're listening.
The Acolyte is doing the same thing Last Jedi was doing, which is kind of pointing out that the Jedi Order is not that good.
They got blinded. Maybe they were good at one point, but I mean, they are a religion that won't let other religions exist, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, the Force is God, and you got to worship it our way. You can't go do another religion. Like, come on now. So yeah, I think that's where they're going to go forward. And Disney's catching heat for it.
Well,
I mean, George Lucas always used it as like an ideology. It's not written in stone. The Jedi have to be the good guys.
Yeah, I like showing both sides. You don't need just super good guys running around fighting super bad guys. Like
Qui-Gon Jinn
that worked in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's great. But like people know that things are more gray now.
Mm-hmm.
They always were, but people weren't really hip to it back then,
And we could talk about it too now.
I do like, though, real quick, when he's working at that meat factory, whatever. I was watching the extras cut this meat, and there's a couple guys just going in on it. There's some old dude who has his knife in this, and he's just like kind of wiggling his wrist. He's not even trying to cut.
He found a tendon, dude.
I was just laughing because he's not even attempting. He's just like, I'm cutting meat, right? But this piece doesn't cut? Okay. By the way, whatever this meat is, it looks delicious.
I'd have some.
It's like
Wagyu.
Yeah, like Wagyu beef. It's like very marbled. It looks good.
Cook that right up there. Now we're gonna get to the. I
want to mention Obi-Wan's form of transport.
Oh, his Eope.
His Eope, because I read a IMDb trivia fact that IMDb trivia is usually stupid.
Let me guess. Is it the same one that he rode in episode 1? That Qui-Gon Jinn had number 1 that farted?
No, that's what I was going to bring up, though, because the trivia is the animal that Obi-Wan rides, the Eope, is the same animal he is seen riding at the end of episode 3 when he drops Luke off at the Lars's farm.
Yeah.
I was like, but there's no mention of that it's also the one that farts in fucking Jar Jar's face. Like, it may not be the same one, but it's the same species.
I mean, it's all space camels, dude.
It just made me laugh. And like, there was another one that was like, later on, it's like when the Organas send the message to Obi-Wan and they say, you have to help Leia. It mirrors episode 4. Yeah. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
I mean, they're peppering in all kinds of, all kinds of like little Easter egg-esque dialogue.
Yeah.
Like fucking Bail Organa keeps like, hey, old friend. Hey, old friend. It's like all these things we've heard before.
Yeah.
Just to remind us we're in the same universe.
Remember, guys, you've seen this stuff.
As soon as Leia gets on screen right here, I was like, I mean, all right, let's get it out of the way. The actress is adorable. She's competent. But I don't care.
Yeah, this little girl she's fine. She's a good actress for a little shitbird.
Exactly.
But there's a girl named Vivian Lyra Blair, and even her IMDb photo is like she's trying to be an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like sitting on a chair backwards with like sunglasses on her head, and it's all black and white. It's like a modeling photo thing. I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah, she's either gonna have like a really good career in Hollywood, or this is it.
Yeah, and she's just. I have problems with precocious children. I have problems with children in general, like not just in movies, but like precocious children in movies just drive me insane.
Yeah.
And that's what she is. And I mean, Obi-Wan does poke fun at it in the second episode once he gets to her. So we'll talk about
this
that.
This episode's releasing in August, which is, on the other podcast.
Yeah, on Bad Movies, Worst People. That's our shitbird month.
So this accidentally lines up perfectly. Because as competent as she is as an actress, the character is a fucking insufferable shitbird.
Which makes sense because, I mean, Leia is kind of an insufferable adult.
Absolutely. Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
I mean, but like the snappy dialogue and the witty, like smart-ass kind of comebacks work better coming from an adult or late teen or whatever she's supposed to be in that.
For sure.
Better than it works coming from a 10-year-old, So I do like when we're still on Tatooine, I like Obi-Wan's house, by the way.
Oh,
his cave.
Catch me living in a cave eating stew.
Dude, when he like makes that stew and he goes and sits on the edge and he's just watching the sunset eating stew, I was like, this seems great.
Yeah,
Other than the fact that cave is insufferably hot.
No, the cave's probably fine. Go deeper in. It's climate control, dude.
And I think this is the only time we get Jawa subtitles.
Might be. Well, maybe in Mando.
There's a little bit in Mando, yeah, because she's talking Strangers with Candy.
Yeah, I can give you the actress's name here in a sec. Sedaris.
Yes, Amy Sedaris talking to that Jawa that she was banging.
Palimoto.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, that Jawa she was fucking. Mm-hmm. They have a conversation, and I'm pretty sure there's subtitles. But the Jawa's kind of, it's selling Obi-Wan some stuff. You don't know what it is, something he requested, but I think they mentioned that it's a T-16 something.
Skyhopper.
It's the same toy that Luke's playing with at the beginning of episode 4.
For sure.
So Lars gave it to him, or Owen gave it to him.
Yeah.
Even though later on here he throws it in Obi-Wan's face.
Well, it's going to happen in episode 6, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure we see him.
Gives it back to him.
Yeah, like, all right, you're not that bad of a guy.
I did get a really like genuine laugh, and I was watching episode 1 by myself, and I'm laughing out loud, which is a weird thing to do. I don't know. I'm sure people do it all the time, but I always feel weird laughing out loud in my home alone.
I don't like watching stand-ups alone for that reason. I'm just sitting like,
but the Jawa is like, oh, there's something wrong with your evaporator, and he's like,
missing the board.
Something got stolen from it, and I need a new control board. And he's like, weird, I've got one right here.
Check this out. And his line though, he says, if you're gonna steal things from me, at least fucking have the courtesy of cleaning them.
And then Jawa pauses, like, oh shit, he caught me, and he goes, cleaning's extra.
Yep.
And that's where I laughed. I was like, dude, this Jawa doesn't give a fuck.
I fucking love Jawas. They are probably my favorite race in Star Wars.
Is it the Jawa that tells Obi-Wan that a Jedi escaped across the Dune Sea?
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's coming up again, by the way.
He has the belt, so yeah.
Oh, that's right, because he's trying to sell him that. And then Obi-Wan is having nightmares about the prequels, like most of us. More previously on footage. The one useful thing from the previously on was Yoda mentioning that he was going to teach Obi-Wan how to basically commune with Qui-Gon's like Force ghosts,
yes,
and do more training in the desert. And when he wakes up from the nightmares, he's like trying to talk to Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon's not there. So he's like disconnected. That's kind of an important thing.
I mean, we've talked about depression being bad for being a Sith. It's got to be worse for a Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not celebrating anything. You're accidentally cutting yourself off from the Force, and maybe he's doing it on purpose so he doesn't get found.
Now I have no connection to anyone, and I don't have the Force.
Yeah, awesome. Now I have to get up to get my remote. Even more depressed.
When he's watching Luke from a distance here, and he's watching like the Lars's farm, there's a meme that's been going around that makes me laugh. I may have already posted it on our Instagram and Facebook page, but it's Obi-Wan watching Luke, and Luke is pretending to pod race.
Yeah.
And it's just Obi-Wan, it just says, oh, not this shit again.
I was hoping he'd look like, man, that kid's so wizard.
And Owen Lars is played again by Joel Edgerton, who has been in a bunch of stuff, but as I was looking through, I was like, this is pretty much what I know him from. I mean, he's in The Green Knight.
He's King Arthur
in the Thing
series,
remake.
The King Arthur movie with Clive Owen. Say what you want about it, dude. I love it.
I don't like any King Arthur stuff, it turns out.
I love it. Knights, fucking swords, bows, and arrows.
Oh, that's why you loved The Last Night, Transformers The Last Night so much?
It's the best out of the series, which ain't saying much.
He was in Bright. Did you watch that?
Yeah, he was the orc.
Yeah. God, I hated that movie.
I wanted to love it. I love that premise. Like, that's such a
it's
cool...
It's a good idea.
It's such a cool world you built, and then it sucked.
Well, that's Landis's kid, Max Landis.
Okay.
Who's just an internet troll that also gets to direct because his dad was a director.
Checks out. Nepo babies.
The kid who's playing Luke is a kid named Grant Feely.
Okay.
Which I just want to mention because it's a funny name.
It's great. Sounds like you were hanging out with somebody who gets touchy when they're drunk. What happened, Derrick? I was hanging out with Grant Feely last night. He had 3 scotches.
I mean, he's not important in this series, really. He's not in this. This is Obi-Wan and Leia's adventure.
Well, and there's always a problem with having... This is why I think it was a mistake to have the plot be Obi-Wan leaves Tatooine to go get Leia. We know nothing can happen to her.
Yeah.
And also with Luke. Like, I know later, I think it's 4 or 5 or 6, one of those episodes, he's in peril. It's like, yeah, he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing to do. Like, you know you can't kill Obi-Wan yet either. But if he would have had to go rescue almost anybody else besides Leia, you're like, oh, shit, they could really die.
When we get to the end of the series and there's the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan, and you're like, well, this will probably be cool, but also we know nobody dies.
I know 2 of you have to live.
Yeah, that's the hard part about prequels. So unless you're doing hundreds of years in advance or something.
But like, to my point though, is like you just write somebody else to have Obi-Wan go help, you know?
Yeah. Like, Obi-Wan will make it, but everything else is up in the air.
Yeah, and I would have liked that, but it's I didn't write it. Oh, so when Leia's sitting on that tree spotting spaceships, right? She's like, oh, that's this. There's one that is I have it written down because I don't know this ship, because it's called the Tri-Wing S91X. The only reason I know this is because Porsche designed this ship.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a Star Wars concept design done by Porsche. I don't know. It's cool.
She was excited to see a tri-wing, so that makes sense.
And a lot of Aquilian fucking Rangers out looking for pirates.
And her little beep boop robot is like, nah, you're not looking for pirates.
I do like the beep boop robot more than I like Pip.
Well, this robot has legs.
Droid ever.
So I know that Bail Organa is still played by Jimmy Smits, always has been.
Yes.
Who Jimmy Smits has been in a ton of shit, right? I mean,
Law and Order is a big one.
Or
right?
NYPD Blue.
Oh, NYPD Blue, yeah.
He was in Dexter, which he was a good. That was a good
Sons of
one.
Anarchy.
He was in a lot of that. He was in. He
Brooklyn
was Santiago.
Nine-Nine.
Yeah, he was Santiago's
dad.
Yeah. I liked him in Dexter. That was the second season where he was like the ADA that also decided he wanted to be a serial killer. Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Smits is just a working motherfucking actor, and usually for the better. He's a good actor. And
I know he was in all these other ones, but is the lady playing Brea Organa is the same actress?
Hard to say. She's in it for fucking what? I think we see her maybe in episode 3 when they get Leia.
Yeah, I guess this is the only time she has lines,
yeah,
right?
she's not in the other prequels as far as I can remember. So you could have easily gotten somebody that looked like her.
I wanted to mention her because there's she was in 2 things. Like I didn't recognize a lot of stuff she was in. But she's in a show I know you watched, and she's in a show I know Whitney watched. So she's a woman named Simone Kessel, and she was in Yellow Jackets, which I know Whitney watched and loved. She played a character named Lottie. I don't know who that is. And Whitney's listening to us record, and she looks excited. And she was in our Flag Means Death.
Okay.
At least 2 episodes. She was Mother Teach.
Oh, she's Blackbeard's either wife or mom.
Okay. I only saw the first episode, and I was like, I'll watch that. And then I just never did.
I watched the first season, liked it. Second season came out, and I couldn't get into it. Now it's canceled.
Okay.
So,
but yeah, I saw those 2 things, and I was like, well, hey, these guys know something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any of this shit.
Yeah.
So Leia, yeah, she's out playing in the jungle, forest, I guess it is, even though she's supposed to be going to some thing.
She's supposed to be doing her diplomatic bullshit.
Yeah.
And meeting her cousin.
I don't know what a glorag is, but her mom was like, it's like raising a glorag.
I love little things like that too, because like later you have to apologize. I'd rather be ingested by a jacko beast.
And there's someone watching them the whole time, and that someone turns out to be Flea.
Yep. Vecta, I think they said.
Is that his name?
Yeah, I mean it's passing because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because he gets his face sliced off.
He's not a character, but so this is a lot of fucking people hate when she's getting chased, and I do too, because you can see these fully grown adult actors slowing down and like going the opposite way on purpose, because otherwise 3 steps and I got you.
Yeah, because like this girl is a decent actress, but she's got short legs. She's not running as fast as these adult men.
I just kept saying to myself, I was like, I'm fast as fuck, boy. Because she is just like losing everybody. But I'm going to do a little explaining.
The Force.
The Force. She has a latent Force ability that makes everybody have jello legs when they get around her. She confused them, dude.
Well, you know, it's weird because Carrie Fisher also had that ability. Every time I saw her, I got jello legs.
Yeah, I think she was part, Gorgon? That's like looking Medusa in the eyes. I started turning to stone down there.
But when they have this little dinner party with their cousins or whatever the fuck these people are.
It's her cousin, so that would be Jimmy Smits' brother.
Okay. The brother is like, he's a fucking sycophant for the Empire, right?
Absolutely.
Because he's just sitting here like, oh, the Empire's finally helping us make some money, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Republic.
Lining some pockets. Jimmy Smits is like, dude, we still have to like stop slavery. There's this. And the guy's like, hey, I didn't come to talk about slavery. I came to eat your food.
I'm not here to talk about slavery. I'm here for Hot Pockets.
And okay, hold on. I know it's Hot Pockets.
We can do both.
Slavery can wait a little bit. But also, like at this point, the slaves they were talking about, because it's the Emperor, would be Wookiees and other non-humanoid alien races. Yeah. So all these senators like, well, it's not happening to my people.
Well, I mean, her cousin says right here, you know, when she's nice to the droid, he says, he's like, you don't have to be nice to lower life forms.
Then I don't got to be nice when I talk to you, bitch.
Yeah. So, I mean, her precocious thing annoys me, but also her sass is funny.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well, then I guess I don't have to be nice to you.
And this guy deserves to get all the sass. But she eviscerates this kid using a little latent Force abilities, I think. She's kind of tapping into his mind a bit without knowing it, because she's like, you're scared of your dad. And you think that if you act like him, people will be scared of you. And you don't believe anything you're saying. You're just regurgitating.
Yeah.
Which is, a sycophant Nepo baby.
She could be using the Force, or she could just be looking at him and going,
I'm also just,
people like
what,
you.
though? Maybe it's not the latent Force. It's showing you how she is going to be a political assassin. Like, she is really good at sizing people up.
Yeah.
Just, I watched you interact with your dad, and I got you figured out cold now.
It's funny because Jimmy Smits is trying to, like, mom is always being mom, right? She's like, look, you have to apologize. Stop doing this. She's not mean.
I love Jimmy Smits,
but he's he's the relatable, he's fun dad, right?
Well, and he lays it down. He's like, look, dude, it sucks. That kid sucks. But you apologize now, and then when you are ruling all this shit, he's going to really have to eat crow. Like, just be nice to him now and then be a fucking cunt when you're in charge.
I had a chuckle to myself, though, because he's like, one day this whole planet will look to you. And I was like, yeah, as they're being murdered.
Yeah.
They're going to look right at you when they explode.
They often say that Alderaan Alderaan is the cradle of the universe for humans.
Oh, okay.
Like for the what our race, like Han Solo's, they all started in Alderaan and then spread out, settled Coruscant, yada yada.
Okay.
I don't think that's ever been canonized, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I never knew that one. So that's kind of interesting. It makes sense too, because this is like the only planet I've seen so far where I didn't see anything. I don't think I saw anyone who wasn't human.
Yeah.
Even
I mean, you might have some
party.
visiting dignitaries or something, but like the planet's residents.
Is this where we see C-3PO? I know he's in one of these 2 episodes.
Was he?
Yeah, just
so.
it
Would be here, and R2 would be on Alderaan right now, right?
I don't think we don't see R2 though. We don't get a line or anything. We see C-3PO, and I did read that it is Anthony Daniels. They didn't just throw somebody in a suit, even though it's one shot.
Good. I want Anthony Daniels.
It's his
to
11th appearance in a Star Wars property.
Yeah, I want him to do all the work, please.
And so she gets kidnapped by Flea and his friends. So she gets kidnapped by the Red Hot Chili.
I love. Leia ran away.
I was gonna do a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, and then I was like, I don't know any of them. There's no California. Digga Coruscant. I don't know.
What you got? I gotta steal you from your papa.
From Bail Organa.
Flea, if you're listening, first of all, kudos on a career.
So there is that quick scene we kind of mentioned where Owen confronts Obi-Wan.
A great scene, dude, because he is fucking laying into him, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, is the boy okay? He's like, you don't fucking care if he's okay. You care if he's showing.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, because the rule was I will train him when it's time. He's like you trained his father. Mic drop.
Yeah, and he says, he's like, Anakin is dead.
And from a certain point of view, he is.
Well, as far as they know, he is. I mean, like, from a certain point of view, yes. But also, as far as they know, they don't know about Vader yet.
Yeah.
So, which is weird because it's been 10 years and he's like, the right-hand man of the Emperor.
Yeah, but he doesn't have Fox News out in Tatooine.
Their satellite dishes do not work. They only have local
they only
stations.
Get local pod racing news.
It's just a news network with Greg Proots. What's his name?
That's right. Is that from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Greg Proots,
something like that. The guy that was playing the Wiggly Monster in number 1 there.
They're just ignoring the other side of the gate. Everything's good here in Hut Space. Don't look any further. Alderaan, all the wrong.
But he tells him to stay away from Luke.
They don't believe that Alderaan got blown up in Hut Space. They're like, that's a hoax, dude. No, billions of people didn't get silenced in an
instance. So what you're saying, there are Holocaust deniers.
They are Alderaan deniers for sure. I heard the space station's not even real. The Death Star? Who would build a weapon and call it the Death Star? It's so obvious. That's Republican news.
They're trying to spread 5G.
You want to talk about something real? Chemtrails.
But the Inquisitors show up, and Reva, whatever, automatically is like, something to Owen.
She's got a little bit of a sensitivity for reading.
You can see later on, she straight up takes, in the next episode, she takes information out of
Kamir.
Haja. Kumail Nanjiani.
Yes, I actually have his name down.
I have it, but it's in the second episode.
Haja Estre.
Yeah.
Estri.
She takes information straight out of his head, so she could have done it here. I don't know why she didn't. But
maybe this person is just more strong-willed. You don't have to be force sensitive.
Because Haja is a piece of shit.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, he's a piece of shit for the side of good, though. He's redeemable.
He's a scammer.
He's a swamp rat.
Yeah.
He's a womp rat.
I do like, she's like, because they're trying to offer rewards and stuff. That's what I was talking about. And she's like, yeah, the reward will be, I'm not going to fucking cut your hands off, basically. And that lady starts yelling at her and like saying like, you don't have any authority here. And she just chops that lady's hand right the fuck off.
And this is also where I wanted some HUDs, but they don't care about these people.
Yeah.
Like, you fuck with the citizens. We're not affiliated with them.
That lady's not paying any taxes.
Yeah,
she doesn't have money.
She's not buying spice. Don't fuck with my clientele, though.
Yeah. And basically Owen protects Obi-Wan, doesn't give him up. But when Obi-Wan thanks him, he's like, I didn't do it for you.
Yeah.
Like, if they found you, they'd find Luke.
Yep.
And that's all I give a shit about, which is good. I mean, Owen, even though he's kind of an
still
asshole,
think he would have done it for Obi.
Yeah.
I really do. He's putting that front on, you know, and maybe he believes it himself. But I think chips on the ground, he's not going to give up an innocent person to be tortured slowly and killed.
Yeah. I mean, he does know. He wants Obi to stay away from Luke, but he does know that Obi is there to watch and protect Luke.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want anything to happen to Obi in case anything happens with Luke. Hey, spoiler alert, Joel Edgerton. Once you get old and fat in 8 years, it does.
Dude, Tatooine is a hard life on people. Jimmy Smits does not age on Alderaan or Coruscant the entire fucking time.
His hair gets slightly grayer, but like that's
little
it.
Salt and pepper, little silver fox.
Yeah, because Ewan McGregor becomes...
Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness.
in a decade. Crazy.
And I know that's always been the thing. It's like, well, living on the desert is hard. But I'm like, he's been living in this desert for the last 10 years. And all Ewan McGregor did is grow a beard.
Yeah.
And get tired.
He got very tired.
Like, that's it.
I know. We gotta ignore it, though, right?
Yeah.
Because we know what the reason is just fucking casting. Like,
well, and also... that was in the 70s and people aged differently then.
Yeah.
Like a 40-year-old in the 70s is what a 70-year-old looks like now, at least as far as actors go.
Look up the Paul Rudd, Wilford Brimley meme.
Yep.
That's your evidence right there.
Or we discussed it, I believe, on Bad Movies, Worst People, when we were doing our mental health and we were talking about The Labyrinth and how Jennifer Connelly still looks great. Tom Cruise still looks great. But the girl that played
Kelly McGillis,
that played his love interest in the original Top Gun, I mean, she aged like a normal person.
I was going to say, she aged like we do.
Yeah. And so they were like, well, we can't bring her back. She's not hot.
Yeah.
She looks
Tom
like
Cruise
someone's
is not,
teacher.
No one can believe Tom Cruise trying to fuck her.
Exactly. Like, it's... people aged differently in a
also,
different time.
I heard because she is a lesbian, and she had an awful time kissing Tom Cruise on set. So maybe she's like, I'm not coming back even if I was all fit as a fiddle.
I'd probably have an awful time kissing Tom Cruise, too.
I think Tom Cruise would, too. Kissing himself. No, he'd love that.
He would love that.
He would love that, dude. He just gives himself a kiss in the mirror every night. Why isn't there a male version of you, pal?
Oh, he's got all that. Like, he's high-level Scientology. They can clone.
Yeah. I want you to clone just my butthole. Don't ask me why.
But so the fifth brother is talking shit to Reva here, and he's just like, hey, look, sometimes, or he's telling her, you're going too far, and that's when she's like, maybe you're not going far enough, and that's kind of the end of that.
It's kind of stupid. Well, because then he's like, we looked everywhere. Maybe you're looking in the wrong places. Like, you just got a little quip for everything, don't you? Don't you?
You just always have a comeback.
But he does say, he's like, you really want Obi-Wan. The Grand Inquisitor told you to fucking drop it. You got a hard on for this dude.
Yeah.
And we don't know why at this point. This is behavior fitting of, they aren't Sith, right?
Right.
Like, I think it's this episode or it's the next
it's
one.
the next one, I think.
They talk about how they are mostly fallen Jedi, so they were scared. You know, instead of just dying and believing in their religion, yada, yada, they were scared and turned dark.
Yeah.
This would be behavior encouraged by a Sith. Like, can you imagine Palpatine watching these two bicker? Like, excellent, good.
Well,
like,
because you know what happens? You kill the guy who's pissing you off above you. Now you're at the top, and you're the more vicious one.
How do you think you rank up in Sith?
Exactly.
Like, that's how. So, yeah, this is behavior becoming of, like, it makes perfect sense. Knowing nothing right now is like, oh, she's just ambitious.
Yeah.
She wants to kill Obi-Wan because he's arguably the biggest Jedi left. You know, I mean, obviously,
and in episode
Yoda,
2, she mentions that Vader has been looking for Obi-Wan. So maybe that's another thing. She is ambitious. She wants to move up, and if that's what Vader wants,
that's what Vader.
She's going to give it to him. So, the Organas contact Obi-Wan. He basically tells him,
Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. No.
And he basically tells him, like, you know, you'd be better off with literally anyone else.
I started thinking, dude, like, you probably only know him from Boba Fett, but Cad Bane, especially in the cartoons, is the best bounty hunter. I know it's in canon, it's Jango Fett. Like Jango Fett is George Lucas said, the best bounty hunter that's ever existed. In the cartoon, you get to see Cad Bane do stuff that they couldn't do live action.
Yeah.
And he is, I don't know, on paper, he's the best.
Well, since Dave Filoni's in charge now and George Lucas isn't, that would mean that Cad Bane is now the best.
Yeah.
Right?
So I was thinking, it's like, ooh, Cad Bane. Oh, you got a young Boba Fett could be here right now. You know, like I know they're not going to send a bounty hunter, but if you could, dude, Bosk is hanging around.
I mean, we do get to see Tamora Morrison in the next episode.
Yeah, we do.
For a hot second.
It's sad.
One of the really evil ones too.
What?
I didn't notice, obviously, because I'm not you. But his apparently his division is the 501st, which are the ones that killed the Jedi on Coruscant.
Didn't they become Vader's personal?
Yeah, they were called like Vader's fists.
Yeah, well, done that move. First, what you do is you get one of those mechanical hands from Spencer's.
But yeah, so this is where we see Nira, who's the Betty Safdie Jedi, strung up in town. And Bail Organa comes to Obi-Wan in person. He's like, dude, you've got to do this shit.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't save Anakin, but you can save her.
Stop being depressed. You can you know what you need? Some medication to get your lightsaber back up again.
Look, I've got this little blue kyber crystal.
Lay off the death sticks, dude. Work out a little bit.
We see Leia on the ship. She's tied up. She tries to get Lola to help her get out, and it gets smashed, which I'm only mentioning because it comes up later.
Aww.
And she does tell Flea, like, I'm not afraid of you. And he's like, you will be. You will be.
Hey, Anthony Kiedis. She's not afraid of us. Just fucking, I can't even think of the
They come in their loincloths and from that one video, whatever. What you got to get it, put it in you. Don't sing that song to Leia, though.
I know, like, what can he sing to her? Take me to the place I love.
All right, that's Alderaan.
Californication. No. I'm good. I am scared of you now. No, we're just going to play Californication front to back. We're plenty scared, Mr. Kiedis.
That's when we find out that the kidnappers, we kind of knew, but the kidnappers are working with Reva to
specifically
draw out Obi-Wan.
Yeah, like, you think this is going to work? And she's like, I got him figured out, dude.
And Obi-Wan goes out into the desert and digs up his lightsabers. So he did exactly what he told Benny Safdie to do. He's like, go bury that shit and forget about it.
But he didn't.
Weird that he knew exactly where it was in this vast dune sea, where you can see like the sand has been shifting. You know what I mean? But he knew exactly where it was. He'd probably feel him.
He can feel his. The kyber crystal called to you when you built your lightsaber at the temple.
It's his and Anakin's lightsabers that he buried in there. So, and then he gets on a ship and the adventure begins.
I love how they give us that lightsaber shot just for us. Like, he's wearing it on his hip, and it's like, dude, you know everyone in town's looking for you. Keep it down.
Because he pays this lady to get on the ship and like whips his coat open, and I'm like, I've seen plenty of cop movies where like the cop moves and his jacket opens and people see the gun and they're like, oh shit, he's a cop.
Oh. Yeah, but that was just for us.
So on the Acolyte, we do like, are you still intrigued? But we've already seen this. Are we just doing lightsaber scale, or do you want to wait for the end of the show?
No, I say we just. Did you enjoy it or not?
I did. I think it was a little longer. This is a 53-minute episode. It is 7 minutes of...
Take out that fucking 10 minutes and we're fine now.
But it's a little slower moving, but it is just putting all the pieces in place. And I was drawn right back in. I was kind of not looking forward to this, even though I did buy this. But I had all the other Star Wars shit.
I can echo that, though. Like, I was like, I'll watch it. It's okay. It's a Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it does have the sounds I like. It does have sets that I like, not CGI. We're back doing some practical shit. And also, at the end of the day, dude, it's fucking Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan. I love that shit. Give me more of it. So that was my thing when this first came out. Everyone's like, you're going to watch Obi? I heard it's going to suck. I'm like, it's got Ewan McGregor. So, yeah.
I was like, it's about Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, yeah, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. Does it say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? Yeah, you betcha I'm watching.
I don't remember if I mentioned it on a previous episode or if I just told you guys about it sometime, but there was a thing going around before it came out where it was like, oh, the plot synopsis for Obi-Wan has leaked out, and it was like, I'm reading this plot synopsis and I was like, this is just the plot for Train Spotting, but they're replacing heroin with death sticks. Like, it took me like about a paragraph and I was like, wait a second, that would be a good movie.
I've seen this one. How could you have seen this one before?
You got a youngling crawling on the ceiling, his head twisting backwards. We've never seen a Star Wars toilet, so that scene would be
Grievous
something.
On the roof. mostly chopped up Grievous.
Oh, it's Anakin, but with his legs and shit cut off.
I hate you.
I want to see Obi-Wan dive into that toilet. Is that toilet? Toilet's at Mos Eisley, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is Mos Eisley Cantina. It's a wretched collection of villainy, a wretched hive of villainy and scum.
But that's it for this episode. Just a couple seconds, we'll have episode 2, but we have a guest for that one.
You'll never guess
So we're
who.
cutting off here. Cut.
Have we got a podcast for you?
Bad movies, worst people.
I mean, look, you like getting a couple beers in you, watching a bad movie, and yucking it up with your friends. That's what we're doing. We have microphones.
We have great impersonations. We have bad impersonations.
I think it might be one of the best podcasts I've ever heard.
It's the best podcast I've ever heard, fellas, and I ain't lying through my giant teeth. There's a sample.
Yes.
You can find us anywhere. badmoviesworstpeople.com. Come check us out.
If you don't follow us, we will follow you home.
Welcome back for part 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is still Han Took Shots First. I'm Derrick.
I'm the second brother.
I'm the third sister.
All right, so this episode pretty much all takes place, or does all take place on Daiyu.
Daiyu.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Kind of looks like Neon from Starfield.
Dude, same thing. I was like, I hope Derek's seeing what I'm seeing, man. This is Main Street in fucking neon.
Yeah. And I mentioned on the last episode, these are all directed by Deborah Chow. I do want to mention the writers because I don't know what I know the 3 same guys wrote the first 2 episodes. I don't know what it goes beyond that. I haven't done the research, but Joby Harold, who wrote King Arthur, the one with not the one you were just talking about, but the one with Charlie Hunnam.
Oh God, talk about a stink.
Well, he wrote a lot of bad stuff. He also wrote Army of the Dead, which I didn't watch, but it was that Zack Snyder at Netflix movie with Dave Bautista.
Oh, I didn't see
the
that
Las
one.
Vegas zombie thing.
No,
He
hard
wrote
pass.
Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Hard pass.
And he was one of God knows how many writers on The Flash. But he's one of the ones that's credited.
I can't say hard pass because I hard watched.
But he's credited on that one, so he's one of the ones that actually made it to the end.
And
then we have Hossein Amini, who wrote Drive, which is a pretty fucking cool movie.
Okay.
With what's his face there?
My secret
Ryan
lover,
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. Yes, your secret lover.
He's my secret
You just
lover.
told everybody.
Shh.
Oh,
he doesn't know.
doesn't
It's
know.
a secret
Gotcha.
from him. Yeah. He also wrote 47 Ronin, but that's not good.
That's not, and I really wanted it to be.
Yeah, I love Keanu, so I
love
hoping.
Keanu.
And then the other guy is Stuart Beatty. He wrote Collateral, which is a great fucking Michael Mann movie. That's Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx.
Oh, I do know that
One
one.
of the only Jamie or Tom Cruise movies I like. Probably one of the only Jamie Foxx
It's like
movies.
he's in a cab driver.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx is the cab driver, and Tom Cruise is like the assassin.
Yes,
Good fucking movie. And he also wrote the first Pirates of the Caribbean.
The best, the only good, the only best one.
The only one and it's been ages since I saw it, so I can't say good anymore. But I will say the only one I know I watched more than once. I was obsessed with that movie when it first came out. I watched it probably like 10 times.
I think it might hold up.
Yeah.
I think it might hold up still, except for the fatigue you have for what is Johnny Depp and that universe.
And that movie, this is for the other podcast, but that movie, along with some other movies that were coming out around the time, led to like all the blockbusters we're stuck with now.
Yeah,
just throw it all in there.
Overproduced.
Yeah,
fucking glittery, kind of just glam and no guts.
But those guys wrote both these episodes, so we're on Daiyu. Obi-Wan is looking for Leia, and we find out right off the bat that this is the Shady Planet.
Yeah,
because he's asking this guy like, "Hey, I was tracking this signal, and I seem to have lost it." And the guy's like, "There are no signals here. Move along, sir."
People like their fucking secrets here, all right, pal?
They enjoy the privacy. And then he disappears.
And one of the first things we see is that clone veteran that we mentioned in the previous thing here is played by Tamora Morrison. It took me a second. I was like, it's got to be him. But there's so much like age makeup and the beard.
Well, because it's fucking sad. The clones, they had no plan of what to do after. They were literally just cast out by the Empire, and they have kind of sped up aging.
And it's funny because I mentioned the 501st thing again on the last part. I didn't know that watching it because you see him, he's begging for money apparently the Empire is a lot like United States and doesn't take care of their veterans. So he's begging for money, and Obi-Wan kind of looks at him and hesitates. And at first I was like, oh, because Clone Trooper, they did stuff. These guys really did stuff. These are the ones who like killed all the Jedi at the temple and like.
Well, and also besides that though, go on.
They were doing their job.
Yeah. Well,
so were the Nazis.
I don't know if she was on the episode. They were not in control of that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I wasn't on the episode.
They had retconned it to be that they didn't have a choice. There's a chip in your brain that when the voice of the Emperor says Order 66, you fucking go Manchurian Candidate.
When God says jump, you
So
jump.
yeah, it's the Dune voice. See, I can do it too.
Because we did talk about it, because that was in episode 3. Because I was like, how the fuck these guys just go like, we've been fighting with these guys for 10 years. We're friends. I'm going to murder them.
Yep.
And that's the...
But also I think his face is like he's looking on. He served lovingly with these clones. Like if you watch the Clone Wars cartoon and read those books and shit, he had a great relationship with all of them. Specific names like Commander Cody and whatnot. So I think he's just looking at him like, I don't know, remembering that, and maybe even remembering the downfall of the Jedi with it. But you know, this is a guy I served with.
Okay.
It's not him.
So that's a very layered look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
you
a
can
lot
take
of-
it however
like a lot
you
of
want.
Like a
what Ewan
tiramisu.
Well, like a lot of what Obi-Wan is doing in this, and people didn't appreciate, right? Because he's got a lot of conflicting emotions about all of this.
I've said it before. Obi-Wan is like the real Jedi. I think that the prophecy of the One, right, is Obi-Wan, but he needed to
They
believe.
just translated it wrong. It was the one,
It was
W-A-N.
yeah, I'm Obi the One. But I think he needed the belief of Anakin and then Luke to be the one to keep him going.
Okay.
You know, there may not even be a prophecy. I know that Lucas came out and he's like, it was Anakin. It was always Anakin.
And I appreciate, I didn't think about it until right now. I was just thinking, running things through my head. But like you were saying, people didn't like the way they portrayed Obi-Wan in this, his disconnection and that stuff.
He's
But when
depressed,
you get to the original movies, once you get to the first movie that came out, he doesn't seem to have like, you can tell there's a connection. He knows who Vader is and stuff. But when they have their battle, he's very stoic.
Mhm.
Seems very disconnected. He doesn't have that emotional thing like he did when he was fighting him at the end of episode 3. So I think this is just moving on more progression to like, he's separating himself from that stuff that happened.
He's trying to, yes.
Yeah, he doesn't,
Yeah.
because he knows, he's like, this isn't Anakin anymore, which we get at the end of this whole series.
Mhm.
So
It just took him that long to figure it out.
yeah, I mean, I think it just took him that long to come to terms with everything.
But I mean, actually, at this point, he doesn't even know he's alive.
Yeah.
So
I had to take note of this spice dealer who comes up to him. I took note of her at first just because it's the first time we really get a spice, like an explanation, kind of. She's like, I got uppers and downers and poppers and zingers and whatever. But it's played by Esther McGregor, who is Ewan McGregor's real life daughter, which is funny because she's like, I was someone's daughter once.
Yeah. Here, take this freebie of spice. You're gonna forget the whole thing about having a daughter. Because you forgot about my mom. You left her for a younger bride.
You left her to go live on an island with Scarlett Johansson.
He's with the fucking chick that plays Hera Syndulla. Ewan McGregor? He's
Is
with
he?
the girl. Yeah, we talked about it before. You fucking love this actress. She's in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh,
Not Knives, but Ramona.
yeah.
Mary
Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead are married or together. But either way, I hope that he keeps on his costume and she keeps on her makeup and he makes lightsaber noises for his penis. Where
He even
were
has
we?
the glow in the dark.
By the way,
on.
Yeah.
That might be the sexiest couple in the world.
Yeah. Because of
Yeah.
what I said?
Yes.
Well, just those two people.
Yeah. I don't know. Kaya Gerber and Austin Butler.
I don't know, man. These two have sex and their windows melt. He's got a window guy on
When
speed
Kaya
dial.
Gerber orgasms, it looks like fucking Fifth Element.
I mean, you got Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively too. There's a lot of
Yeah.
sexy couples out there.
Yeah.
But I also have a boner for Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I was trying to think of a nicer word, but
No,
that's what I got.
no, you got a bone going. It's fine. I get it, dude. I've seen that wagon she's dragging.
But anyway, Esther
Where were we?
McGregor tells him, like, if you're looking for a girl, you're not going to find her here. No one leaves here. You might as well go.
Uh-huh.
You might as well leave because no one ever leaves.
Get out of here while you can, because you can't leave. What?
And we have this little kid who comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, there's a Jedi who can help you." This kid's name, the character's name is apparently Jaco. We don't get that here. Maybe we get it later.
Okay.
But it was in the IMDb.
I wonder if his character comes back later when we see like the path. I can't remember.
I want to say yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see.
because Haja comes back, and I think they're
For
kinda,
sure.
It's his it's his Padawan.
It's his setup guy.
It is.
When you're having a fucking Johnny switch him up, you really need a setup guy.
And I really like, so we meet Kumail Nanjiani playing Haja Estri as this.
To perfection in my mind.
Yeah,
I
this-
know that we're all biased, but he's killing it, right?
Yes, he
Well,
is.
and I love him. Silicon Valley is a great show. last couple seasons, I think it was supposed to end, and then HBO was like, keep making it.
Yeah,
but it was still funny. And then he's in the Eternals, which no one liked. I did, but I only watched it the once, so maybe I'm wrong.
There was one show that Derrick and I used to watch called Harmon Quest, and he was one of the repeat.
Oh, yeah. Harmon Quest. It was Dan Harmon of the Community and Rick and Morty and stuff, doing the D&D with his wife and then ex-wife, so that's got to be weird. I can't think of the actress's name, but it's him and her, and they have this guy who's like their dungeon master, and then they have a rotating third cast member, and the dungeon master guy is doing it, and they're playing D&D on stage in front of people. But then the thing that makes it fun is afterward, like after they record it, somebody goes through and animates their
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
It is awesome.
It's a really fun show, and these are all actors. Some of them are voice actors and stuff, which makes sense because there's another D&D thing called Critical Role, and they're all voice actors. I know
Critical Role.
There was the other guy from Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
and he brought his own dice.
Yeah, the head guy. I can't think of the actor's name, but he's main dude from Silicon Valley.
They had Audrey Plaza on there.
Aubrey.
Why do I always say Audrey?
Audrey.
Martha.
But yeah, that dude from Silicon Valley.
Liar. Audrey.
That dude from Silicon Valley came in and he just set down this big old bag of dice. He's like, I've got them. No worries. But that was a really fun show. And Kumail Nanjiani did multiple episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I feel like checking it out just because of him.
Yeah.
Because he's slaying right here, dude. He's got this, even when you don't know what's going on, because he starts by, he's like, I hear your son's got force abilities. You need to get him out of here. I can help you. And he closes the fucking blinds with his hand. Vomp is him doing the force pull on his comm. And then the fucking performance is right here. He's like, I have a couple coming over right now.
I am in your head.
Yeah, I'm in your head. And he starts like, oh.
I just love, he says, I am doing the Jedi mind trick to you now.
You are doing the Jedi mind trick to me now. Oh, you're gonna let this family on? Oh, I'm done doing the Jedi. I'm exiting your mind now. Like, oh, dude, yeah, I'm not doing it any justice. He's ham, and you want it. You want it right here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is a dark episode, and I don't mean just palette, but just. I mean, it's not necessarily menacing, but it is just
depressing.
Yeah, it could be very humdrum.
Yeah.
And so this right here and him in general. Beauty.
And I like when Obi-Wan comes in, because Obi-Wan can see that he's full of shit right off the bat. And when Obi-Wan comes into him and he's like surprised to see him there, but then he's like, I wrote it down. The shadows are my realm. The light is unforgiving to my kind. That's Haja is saying that.
So then Obi's like, well, how much would it cost you to help me find this girl? It's like $500. Like, that light really is unforgiving.
And $300 to show you where she's at. Let's just make it
for $1,000. I'll show you some tricks.
I do like the line though. He's like, you're full of shit, basically. He's like, but you're a rat. And rats know the sewers better than anyone else.
Yeah.
And when I was writing that down, my phone corrected sewers to Swedes. And I was like, I don't know what my phone has against the Swedish.
I do.
But he tells him, like, you're going to help me. And he's like, I'll help you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So I don't want you to kill me. Because he's just like Jedi, scary.
Well, I don't think he knows he's a Jedi yet because he pulls a gun on him.
Yeah. So maybe that's just it.
So he's just like, well, I got found out. This guy's either going to extort me or kill me.
Yeah.
He's very scruffy, and so he's probably going to hurt me.
Scruffy-looking nerf herder.
And so Obi-Wan goes into this spice lab. And
Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Well, my first comment to Whitney was, why are all these aliens wearing robes? Shouldn't they be naked?
Mm-hmm.
I've watched these movies in like Venezuela and shit. You got the cocaine lab.
Everybody's
naked.
The cooking part, they got to have protection.
You don't want to see. You don't want to see these aliens naked.
No packets.
And then he gets confronted by and I can't remember the name. I just wrote Darth Maul drug lord.
Yeah, Zabrak.
Thank you. I was like, I know it had a Z or a V.
Yeah.
It's one of those late letters.
Because it's also a Iridonian Zabrak. It's like a whole added thing.
Oh.
When he came out, I was like, Darth Maul's family, right?
Yeah. It could be from the same litter.
Well, species.
That's no.
He's
it could
not
be the same litter. That's how it works.
So he's not okay.
The males are just for breeding. The women are in charge of everything.
I think we talked about it in episode 1. But why is this one not red? That's tattoos?
No, the black is the tattoos.
Because this one's got the black
There's
too,
red. There's I believe you can do yellow, pale, almost humanoid skin.
Okay.
It's much like how we have people of color on Earth.
Okay.
You know? It's ranging skin tones.
Okay, because we're not used to that in Star Wars of there being if you're one species, you're all the same.
Trandoshans, which is Bosk, like the lizard kind of. Bosk is one of the bounty hunters.
Yeah.
So Dave Filoni has done a great job of introducing different looks to Trandoshans. We always just saw it as Bosk, that color, that build. Then we started to see short ones with different colored scales. We'll see that in Boba Fett, and I'll talk more about it then.
Okay.
But it's like what you're saying, though. It's cool because it's not just like, hey, here's a red species of aliens. Like, no, ranging colors of skin.
Okay. Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, because even early Star Wars, even humans, they were all just white, right? So
yeah, until Lando came around.
Lando.
He spread his seed across this galaxy.
So that's why all the people of color in Star Wars don't show up till the sequel,
trilogy
because Lando had to get out there and get to work.
He's just pumping his way through.
Someone has to do it.
He did the Kessel Run in fucking 12 pump secs.
He's out there Genghis Khaning his way across the universe.
I got to repopulate Alderaan. 3 billion and counting.
So Obi-Wan fights these dudes, and he beats them. But you can see he's struggling a little more because he's just not in touch with his abilities anymore. And he also hasn't been fighting.
And he also kind of doesn't want to be.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's in survival mode right now. Like mentally as well. Like he's in survival mode, just like, dude, if I can't get hurt again by the Force. Like it broke my heart, and I'm not ready to get my heart broken.
It's one of those
again.
toxic relationships that you just can't quit.
Oh yeah, I wish I could quit you.
And he goes in to save Leia. Gets fooled by a really bad dummy.
He's the dummy.
I can't believe you fell for that.
Yeah. Even fucking Flea all spiced out of his mind. It's just like, can't believe you fell for that, you idiot.
I like Flea's performance in this.
I do too.
Especially when he's stoned here in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not acting.
Obi-Wan gets out of this by dropping that spice.
Pocket drugs.
Yeah, that bottle of spice. And I guess because it's an entire, I don't know what a dose of spice is.
Sure, I guess this would be.
User,
I'm gonna equate it to like a vape pen. This would be the equivalent to like cracking open a cartridge and drinking all that instead of taking a hit.
Well, it's like taking a brick of cocaine and just smashing it on the floor and it goes up in the air.
Yeah.
You just LeBron James the cocaine because he throws baby powder in the air.
I thought you knew something about LeBron James. I didn't.
I probably know a lot about LeBron James. You don't.
I know he was in Space Jam 2.
All right, never mind. You know just as much as I do.
But I guess this drug lab is disguised as a sabacc parlor. Because when they're leaving here, there's that sign, and it looked like sabacc cards, which would make sense. It doesn't say drug lab.
I really need to learn to fucking read Arabosh.
I was looking at the language written all over this town, and I was like, there's an awful lot of sevens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what letter that is.
And the dashes.
I have the alphabet. Like I write it out every now and then. Just write out my name and other things, but I can't speak it. I
write it every once in a while. You know, I got to get better. It's like when you're in elementary school and they're teaching you the alphabet and you have to just keep writing it over and over again.
I got a little picture book, dude.
You're at home with
J is for Jacko Beast.
You're at home with a chalkboard like Bart Simpson, just writing stuff in whatever the fuck you said it was called.
I will not speak basic. I will only speak Arabosh.
Arabosh. That's a good name for a language.
I could be pronouncing it wrong. I could be like Orabosh, but it's like AUR.
Who cares?
So it's like Arabosh.
It's one of those things you saw. It's one of those things you saw in writing only, right?
Yeah,
so.
I don't think I've ever heard it. Maybe I have, but I'm gonna stick to my guns.
But Flea and Co. are like, I guess the Red Hot Chili Peppers are in this room, stoned out of their fucking skulls when Reva arrives.
I like pleasure spiked with pain. Music is my aeroplane.
It's my aeroplane.
Pleasure spiked with pain.
But the other two guys are just rolling around on the ground like they were hitting the balls. But Flea
No,
is
one of them, I think it's the female who, I don't even know the species. It could be the Miraluka one, but is like playing with something above them, like,
I didn't catch that. I just saw the one that was like just rolling around. I thought they were both, because it zooms past them really quick. And you see Flea sitting there, and I'm like, you've been like this before.
He's talking in another language.
Deborah Chow's just like, dude, this is method acting, guys. Take notes.
He just showed up really fucking high that day, every day.
We're doing the drug scene today. That's lucky.
And then, so this is when we start getting the kind of insufferableness of Leia.
Yeah.
But some of them are funny. Like I wrote down this one, which she's like, talking to Obi-Wan, and she's like, "You're a Jedi?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I don't know. He just seem a little old and beat up.
Coming up, I think it might even like in a second where he's like, just if anybody asks, you're my daughter, and she's like, granddaughter maybe. But yes,
what? Nothing.
Everything that he's telling her to do, he's like, don't do this, don't leave, don't run. We just got to get from here to here and just trouble the whole way. She's like, well, I don't know if I trust you. I kind of want to run away from you.
Yeah, and I mean that we saw in the beginning, she wants to run away and be free, kind of thing. But also, she doesn't know. Like, she is kind of smart here because it could be these kidnappers, like, we'll send this guy in to say he's saving her, but really it's one of our guys taking her somewhere else.
I guess I am looking at it from the lens of knowing who Obi-Wan is.
Yeah, exactly. We do get introduced to another Inquisitor, the fourth sister.
Yeah.
Sexy played by Raya Kilstead, which is a cool name for an Inquisitor.
Played by Raya Kilstead, because that should just be her fucking character name.
I guess she was in Superman and Lois for a little while. She was also in Dexter.
Huh. Okay.
But I don't remember the character. I saw the name and I couldn't.
She was passing.
Yeah. I only watched the first 3 seasons or whatever, right before the baby was born. When I saw that cover of the poster or whatever for the next season, it's Dexter sitting there with a baby on his shoulders, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done.
That's it. I'm out.
Oh, you brought a baby in? Okay. The Grand Inquisitor tells Reva, like, I'm taking credit for Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're a piece of shit. We found you in the gutter, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And you had talent, but nothing can cover up that stench. She's just hitting her with it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love her comeback, though.
What was her comeback?
Maybe the stench is your failure.
She has a good one at the end, too. And she's like, who's in the gutter now, bitch?
Boom. Lightsaber drop.
But she puts out like a bounty APB.
They put out, eh?
Yes, because Grand Inquisitor's got a plan. He's like, I know what's happening. I'm going to go get him, yada, yada. Bounty hunters are so in fucking descent, and that's her plan.
Yeah, she's trying to squeeze him into one location to beat the Grand Inquisitor and get him first. Like, because she's doing this completely independently of them.
And now we get not now, but that's what gives us the rooftop scene.
She's just not a team player.
There is a dinosaur monster that we see. Dinosaur alien,
yeah.
And I only took note because he looks an awful lot like something out of Super Mario Brothers.
Yoshi all grew up.
So she's not a team player at all.
No.
Well, she would be if they weren't fucking up, in her opinion.
She's like surprisingly closer to Sith than the rest of them because she's got revenge on the brain.
Yeah.
We still don't know that yet, but she's got revenge on the brain and she's out for herself. Like, I will fuck you over to get what I want.
She's really in touch with the Force, too. Like, she's got some serious...
seems to be the most in touch out of these ones that we've seen. I mean, we don't see a lot
of the others.
She's
got more midichlorian.
Yeah. She's got more mitochondria.
There we go.
No, it's midichlorians.
Yay!
You had it right. I was just trying to fuck it up.
Don't fuck with my emotions like that.
But no, we don't really see... Did we see Fifth Brother do anything in these two? No.
No, just have a movie voice.
The other sister, we didn't see.
She didn't do shit.
Yeah.
The Grand Inquisitor does a little bit, but I mean, we see Reva using her powers a lot. The note I have here, real quick, it's after the granddaughter line, is that Leia just doesn't seem to understand the severity of the situation.
No, she doesn't.
At all.
Which is what you were saying. Like, she's just fucking around and goofing off, and I want to eat this snack. I want these gloves. And he's like, dude, we've got to go.
Spoiled princess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Han was right.
Just call me Leia. You don't have to call me princess.
Well, this is when we have Obi-Wan call her out because she says, you think the less you say, the less people know about you, but it's the opposite that's true, or something like that. And he's like, how old are you?
I'm 10.
Yeah, she's smart. She's wicked smart.
And Haja and Jaco start going hunting for him because they see the bounty too. And you think it's because Haja is like, oh shit, that's a lot of money.
Because you got one of these, I think it's a HK droid, is like right behind him.
Is that the green eyes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like if it is an HK droid, they are assassin droid specific.
Because we saw one of those in
Mando.
Well, in Empire, right? In the bounty hunter scene.
I believe it's belongs to the Gand assassin, the little short one next to him.
Okay, because that's the scene, right? Though, where Vader has all the bounty hunters and he's sending them out after Han. Okay,
I believe that's an HK. But yeah, so we get the HK get blowed up by Haja, and you're like, oh no. He is a sewer rat. And he's like, no, dude, I'm going to help you. Come on, guy.
Before we get there, Leia runs off because she sees the bounty and she's like, holy shit, they're after you, not me. Get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
I mean, bad move, but I can see where she's coming from.
Yeah, you're not wrong in another situation. If Obi-Wan's not a good guy, you're doing right.
Yeah, but she fucking shitbirds her way out of there. So now Obi-Wan's chasing her across the roofs. dinosaur monster and googly eye guy show up.
I love his Star Wars.
There's a shootout on the roof. Reva sees it from the distance and starts doing all these flips, and
it's the James Bond parkour.
Yeah.
Like, what fucking year is this? I mean, I'm just being critical of it because you don't need it. I wouldn't mind just seeing her traverse the rooftop in
the
in
cool
a speed.
one. The cool part is when she like pushes down that like antenna or whatever and runs
down?
across.
Yeah, that made me feel like I was playing a fucking cool video game.
Yeah,
and then does a backflip off of it.
But she does
that. I mean, it looks kind of
forward.
cool,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make sense. You backflip up to the next level and run forward, like you're taking away all your momentum.
Yeah,
front flip.
And I'm not bagging on the actress. This is somebody just you didn't need this scene to be this way.
Well, and I don't know if Disney treats Star Wars. I recently learned how they handle Marvel stuff these days, and the reason some of it feels so disconnected. They have this like pre-visualization policy. So the people who are directing the Marvel movies, they direct the talkie talk.
Okay.
But the action scenes, the director has nothing to do with.
Oh, okay.
The action scenes are predetermined. They're done in a computer. They're showing the director like, this is what's going to happen.
This is what you have to work with, but you're not changing it.
Yeah, these are the scenes that we're doing. So I don't know if Disney does the same thing with Star Wars, where they're like pre-vising it and they're like, this is already what we know is going to happen in these action scenes. Yeah, it's a terrible way to make a movie. Like, we're going to hire an action director, but you don't get to do any action. Like,
Yeah,
you're handicapping them.
The fifth brother and fourth sister arrive with a bunch of stormtroopers, which I thought was going to come to something, but it doesn't really. It just looks intimidating.
I think it was just letting us know it's Empire controlled, like just reinforcing, like, hey, look, they didn't do this on fucking Tatooine, but they're doing it on Dayu.
Oh,
I guess that's
true. Yeah.
We have a garrison already here.
Yeah,
They just called up like, hey, send me 12.
Oh.
And then we have this like cliffhanger moment where Leia falls off or she tries to jump this way too big gap. You know she's not going to make it.
It's a Shaun of the Dead moment. But you're afraid of a little shortcut. Ah!
And she falls, and that forces Obi-Wan to use the Force. Which I guess earlier he said like, well, she's like, why aren't you making me float? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you? He's like,
that annoyed me. I want to float. Make me float. I'm going to float you off this fucking planet.
if I use the Force, it'll draw attention to us. But really, we see here, he almost doesn't catch her. You know he's gonna, but
he's struggling.
Yeah, because he hasn't used it in 10 years, as far as we know.
I will always, always love the sound they use when the Force is being used.
They're like whoosh.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's that one. It's almost like
because it's Star Wars and they have great
Dolby
sound.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bass drop.
I talked about it last episode. Like, no matter what, these have like, even from not paying attention, I would put this on and be on my phone and just enjoy all the fucking noises that are around. What is it?
The blasters and
the
the
diegetic, like
lightsabers
just.
and,
Is that the word?
Yeah, diegetic sound.
Yeah. The
stuff
diegetic
that's
sounds
happening in.
Yeah, like it's what they hear. That ambiance of that.
I love it.
So they're trying to get off the planet. Port's closed, obviously. It's filled with stormtroopers.
No ins or outs.
Can't leave here. Port's closed. And hey, that chick told you no one can leave, dude.
Yeah.
Should have fucking left.
Listen to your kid once in a while.
I used to have a dad.
But this is when Haja shows up, takes out that bounty hunter droid. What'd you say they were called?
HK.
HKs.
Ha ha, I remembered.
Heifer.
And I like this is another good Kumail Nanjiani moment because he's like, I don't have the whole thing down, but the part I wrote down was he's like, do I feel bad about what I'm doing? Sometimes. Do I like money? Yes.
I love credits. You know what stuff you can buy with credits?
I like the part where Obi was like, okay, Haja, you remembered my name?
Yeah. Oh my God. You remember my name.
He's like, this is how you're going to get to that one. That is an autopilot guy. Just get the kid up there.
It's all automated. It's all droid automated. They wouldn't be looking for you.
Yep.
Because I guess that's what I guess that's why the stormtroopers are here now.
Yeah.
They're martial lawing, as it were.
Because it says everybody has to have their IDs ready to be scanned. And all
your
that.
chain code.
This is when we do see the spinny saber. I'm sure they have a name, but I'm never going to learn it.
I don't know it. I don't know if they do.
They're called
like
the Voom
the
Vooms.
Inquisitor blade. I'll look it up because I really don't know, because I think it's one of the stupidest designs. And I know that Dave Filoni was saying it's not supposed to be practical. It's supposed to make you like, if you were an undertrained Jedi and there was 3 of these guys, you'd be like, oh no. But I said before, Ahsoka dismantles somebody's without having one.
Yeah.
Like she fought 2 Inquisitors and just barehanded grabbed the fucking thing and was like, and done. So I mean,
because these aren't for. I mean, these guys are hunting down Jedi, but these aren't for the Jedi per se. I think they're more for intimidation purposes.
I think so too.
They're for the normal
and all
people.
These are untrained, like are unfinished training. Maybe the Grand Inquisitor finally was a full-fledged Jedi, but everybody else, like you were probably a Padawan or
youngling,
even more so. And like,
because we see him using it against Flea. He's questioning him like, "Where the fuck are they?" He's like, "I don't know," and he slices off Flea's face. I think is what's implied.
Well, and
here.
you would,
he's force pulling him toward him and has the blade going, and you hear like the, but they don't show it. Obviously,
you
Disney.
had said off mic that you were surprised there wasn't a Darth Maul-esque reveal.
Oh
with
yeah,
the double-bladed.
Because I thought I remembered there being one, but maybe I'm just thinking of Darth Maul, and I don't mean like one blade than the other, because you can see that they clearly have two.
Yes.
But like him holding it out and then the blades coming out, but maybe they felt like we've already done that.
There definitely was a grand reveal in Rebels, but again, we're talking about two people that never watched that cartoon.
Yeah.
Never did.
So you never got to see that reveal.
Yeah, our first reveal is it's already spinning.
But maybe they just didn't want to bring it too close to Darth Maul at all. They're just like, we already did that.
They're like, that last episode was too long, 53 minutes. We got to get this one down to 38.
Yeah.
Haja confronts Reva in the alleyway
and pretending to be a Jedi.
Yeah, and she's like, "You're not a fucking Jedi, dude." Throws him up against the wall, and he's like, "Holy shit, those weren't magnets." I think he soils himself.
I think so.
So they're mostly known as double-bladed spinning lightsabers.
So spinny saber,
also known as double-bladed Inquisitorious lightsaber.
Okay,
because Inquisitorious is the collection of Inquisitors.
Okay.
I'm a little annoyed because Haja's like, "You run, I'll stall her." And it's because of him stalling her that she knows exactly what's happening.
Yeah, because she's like, "Where are they?" He's like, "I'm not going to tell you," and she just pulls it out of his fucking head.
Which, I mean, like, I'm glad she didn't, but this character would have been like, the second that he's like, "Oh, you found me," she'd be like, "Funk, you're dead."
Yeah.
But I'm glad she didn't.
Yeah. Well, they've got to keep him around. We need some kind of levity. We've got Lola, the little robot, but it's broken right now. Because droids are usually the comic relief in
Sure,
these
and
movies.
I don't mind going to another finger quote fool.
Yeah.
I think it was Hidden Castle is one of the things that Lucas based his waves to. Like, there was two fools telling the story, and that was all what you saw through their eyes. That's C-3PO and R2-D2.
Okay, yeah.
So he's also doing that. Like now we're doing it with somebody else, though.
Oh God, I wrote this down because I knew Whitney would get a kick out of the thing I thought of. Someone says, "You remind me of someone." Who's he say that? I think Oba says that to Oba.
Oba.
I think
Oba Fett.
I think Obi says that to someone. He's like, "You remind me of someone," and the first thing I thought of was, "You remind me of the babe."
It's
what babe?
It is Obi-Wan speaking to Leia, and he's like, "You remind me of someone."
Oh, that's right, because he's talking about
stubborn,
Padme.
but they were fearless, and you think like she at least. They're leading us to believe
stubborn.
they're talking about the dad, though.
No, he's talking about her
Well,
mama.
because Leia even says like, "What was he, a fighter?" And he's like, "No, she was a leader." It's like, your mama.
Oh, you love Padme too.
She died a long time ago or something like that. It's like, well, how old are you, bitch? 10? Yeah, she died 10 years ago.
Wasn't there supposed to be? Did we talk about there being like a thing where Anakin thought that Obi-Wan and Padme were fucking?
Yeah, drop plot
So
line.
this leads back to that. You remind me of someone. I loved her once. That was a long time ago.
I made love to her once.
But Reva finds this cargo bay where they're trying to get out through. And Obi-Wan sends Leia to the ship. He's like, "You go, take this
I'll
thing.
be behind you.
I'm right behind you," which no one's ever right behind you.
So she gets to the ship so fast. How come he couldn't just go with her?
Well, I don't think he's planning on going with her. I think he's planning on trying to stop Reva, and he's thinking he's probably going to die. But he's getting Leia off planet.
Yeah.
So
that's the priority.
Yeah.
If I do live, cool. If not, cool. She's got to get home.
Yeah, and it's like a little cat and mouse segment, but Obi-Wan is too afraid to come out and fight, which I get it.
And this is where we find out.
She says,
I'll take you to Vader.
Yeah, Vader's been looking for you, and he'll be pleased that I found you.
And again,
or something like
she's
that.
reading him through the Force.
Yeah, she is.
Because she even says at one point, like, "Your fear betrays you. I can hear you."
Yeah, and this is what she
force
says to him.
quote
She's
Derrick,
like,
"I could force smell you."
and she says, like, "Oh, you didn't know Anakin Skywalker is alive."
And it just, dude, imagine that inner monologue of like, how the fuck could that be?
Yeah. The Grand Inquisitor comes in, confronts Reva, and she basically just runs him through with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And that's when we get that line. She's like, "Who's in the gutter now, bitch?" So,
Whitney, have you seen this series before?
Yeah.
Okay. So was it a surprise when he comes back?
the
I
Grand
don't
Inquisitor?
remember that.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Okay.
Just because it's Star Wars.
There are parts of Rebels that take place after this. I think after this. Yeah, that take place after this. Oh, yeah. We see him die in Rebels.
Okay.
So that was always a thing. Everyone's like, Well, he's got to come back.
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised. I do remember him coming because when this happened, my first thought was, I swear he was in more of these episodes.
Yeah,
because it's been 2 years.
So I guess
since I watched this,
I guess that's my question. Is like,
Same.
was it from a story point of view without having knowledge? Like, yeah, I could see him. He has to come back.
Well, I mean, I think the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh shit, she killed him." Now she's like the big bad for the series. But when we do see him again later, it's not that surprising. I don't know. Their lightsaber logic in all of these is very flawed.
They had a
like
writer explain this. Rupert Friend is on, I think, Jimmy Kimmel, and he was like, well, actually, the Powans have a second stomach or whatever. Or like you can look it up, and now it's canonized that the Powans have whatever organ was there that would have killed him. They have an extra one.
Okay.
So it's like, man, we can just write that in.
Because it's like, but sometimes it's like people get stabbed and they're fine because the wound is cauterized. Sometimes people get stabbed. I mean, in Acolyte, Kilnaka gets slashed across the stomach and he's dead.
And then Qui-Gon Jinn, he gets hit in pretty much the same spot Sabine Wren gets hit, and she fucking pulls through no problem. I guess she did have help like right there.
Yeah,
and he just laid there. I don't know. Lightsaber logic is tough because even in fucking episode 4, when he chops off that fucking Aquilish's arm, there's blood.
Yeah. The Walrusman.
Oh.
Yeah. Old vagina mouth himself.
He's too wet to
Ponda
cauterize.
Baba. That's his name.
He was too moist to cauterize.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Dr.
Cornelius.
I always want to say Mengele. And that's not right.
What? I bet you somebody wrote a fucking from a certain point of view that the Aquilish have different blood that doesn't cauterize or something like that.
Yeah.
I bet you it's explained. Because if I can do it, if I can think about it that quick, like, well, actually, they have an enzyme that doesn't allow their blood to cauterize. Somebody else thought about it since 1977.
It's in a book.
Yep.
There are hundreds of them.
Take a look.
Oh, no, never mind. He's in Star Trek.
Close.
I was about to say, wait, Reading Rainbow, but that's a different series.
That's a different podcast that I won't be on.
What, Reading Rainbow or Star Trek?
Star Trek. I'd be on a Reading Rainbow podcast. Fuck that. Oh, dude, with us, it'd be filthy.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a kid's show.
Wanda's beaver.
Clean it up.
But Obi-Wan gets away. The ship flies off. Reva's yelling at it as if they can hear her.
Yeah.
And we see him kind of like, it's that like after an explosion kind of thing that we see in movies all the time. Like Leia's talking to him, but it's muffled and he's not paying any attention because he's just like, holy fuck.
It's wartime shell shock.
Like, I was going to say, this wasn't an actual explosion, but it was a bombshell. Like, he's like, holy fuck, Anakin's alive. Like, and then we cut to Vader in the back of the tank. Hayden Christensen's playing him. You can't tell here because he's covered in makeup and scars and stuff. But
I think we've talked about before, this is the only way he can be out of the suit.
Yeah.
Is it back to tank, and then he can take his helmet off in that pressurized meditation chamber.
So
I was going to say the chamber, but I guess he's only got his helmet off in there.
In the special features that Derrick and I watched, Hayden had to practice holding his breath underwater. He did not have a breathing apparatus.
That mask is fake.
Correct. I'm like, it's on him.
It's a scuba mask. Just fucking put air in it.
Right? Like, what? Why are you making this? Why does he have to hold his breath?
Just have the hose go outside the tank. It's not that hard. You know what you need?
They are already going
a
outside
large snorkel.
I mean, there's so many things that like, or have the hose go down to the bottom like it is, but have it attached to fucking oxygen.
Yeah,
it seems silly. Maybe they were just trying to. They were like, "Look, Hayden, you're gonna have to act this time. George is not in charge of this one."
They were trying to kill him. So you know something that people already hated about this show by the time it was out?
Everything.
Well, but specifically a problem that these fucking lore nerds have had with it was this is now it ruins in episode 4 that Obi-Wan and Leia never met.
Well,
right? Except it explains in episode 6 here coming up.
I thought they had met. And that's why
I don't
she's
remember
like,
what happens at the
No,
end of this.
in New Hope, she says like, you were a friend of my father's. He always said I could count on you. You know, yada yada. Like it's very apparent in that they've never met.
Maybe she just doesn't remember. Well, she only knew him as Ben.
So we'll wait. We'll wait. No, she knows him as General Kenobi.
Oh,
because he served with Bail Organa.
Yeah, in this.
In this, yeah.
But because I was thinking about that because I was thinking, oh well, that's why she sent him the message because she's like, I know who I can turn to. But I don't remember how this ends.
You are correct about that now, because we'll get to it in 6, but he kind of just tells her, like, you have to forget this. You can't tell. For your sake and my sake, we never met.
Which is funny, because that's kind of what Kumail Nanjiani says to that lady. She's like, we'll never forget you. He's like, for your sake, you have to.
No, he's like, you have to. My safety depends on it. That light sure is unforgiving.
But that's the end of part 2. These both came out the same day. So this next episode will be everybody had to wait a week for it.
Yeah.
So you got to wait too.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did we say? Did you enjoy it? I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought there was good action. I think the Leia's annoying, but I mean, again, grown up Leia is probably kind of annoying too.
Yeah.
I think the girl did a great job.
Just real quick, I'm saying that without being like, when women talk, it's annoying. I'm not being that. Like,
no, you hate kids.
She is the sassy. No, but as the adult Leia, she is the sassy, like, shit talking lady.
She's a spoiled princess.
Yeah. So.
And what did you say? We talked about it last episode. It's not the actress's fault. It's just that we don't like watching a little kid.
Correct. Yeah, I think that.
And she's in a lot of it.
And Derrick definitely hates precocious kids. He's just like, shut up, you fucking lying t-shirt wearer.
You never surfed, son of a bitch.
I'm blown away by how well she is performing.
Okay.
It's not very often you get. Me and roommate watched Harry Potter beginning to end, and they are so
rough.
bad.
That first one's rough, dude.
That's why Derrick.
You're talking to a Harry Potter head. I love that fucking universe, but that first one, you try and go back. I watched it with the Little Bleep.
Yeah,
and I introduced her to that, and I was like, all right, we'll start at the beginning. It's like, poof.
It's. Actually,
I read like 5 of the books, and I didn't stop reading because I didn't like them. The beginning where it's like it starts the same way every time, and that 5th or 6th time I was like, I can't do it, can't again.
It's the end of summer break.
Yeah, we don't need it every book.
It's tradition.
But I only watched the first movie because I was like, yeah, I'll watch them, and I watched the first one. I was like, yeah, I don't know, man.
They do get better. They get much better.
They do, but by the time he's not going to give a shit until episode or the. Goblet of Fire.
Did I hear they're bringing it back?
They're rebooting it.
Are they rebooting it?
Yep.
Oh, they're not.
Everybody's going to be different.
That seems stupid to us, and it probably is stupid. But you got to remember, most of these things that are being rebooted were only about 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, but also the movie industry is just that. It's an industry. They're trying to make money.
Yeah, and they don't have any new ideas. But so you enjoyed it?
Pick up another fucking book.
So you're saying you enjoyed it?
I did enjoy it. I remember enjoying this the last time we watched it. I guess I wish there could have been more. Like, I don't know. I just remember that.
But I think that's why I'm gonna like watching it like just as quick as I want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I told him earlier I'm looking forward to doing that with Acolyte when it's done.
Oh my God, yes, definitely.
Which by the time this comes out, it is done.
Yeah.
So I will have looked forward to rewatching it in its entirety because these are movies.
Yeah.
That are chopped up and put on streaming. I think
when you broke it down like that for me, I was like, okay, I understand that.
I don't think I mentioned this on microphone, but this was originally a trilogy of movies written by a guy whose name escapes me. He left the project because the guy in charge of Disney, I think Bob Iger, said we are about to dominate streaming. That's all I want to do. So that's why they didn't have any movies coming out either for the most part. We haven't had one since episode 9.
No, yeah.
Well, this came out still during COVID times where a lot of people
it was made during COVID times.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't going to movies. Like this was the dawn.
But even before that, they weren't planning on ever doing this as the writer was. Okay. So the plan was to make this series and then 2 more seasons of Obi-Wan.
I think they could have done that.
They could have.
I think that would probably had more people happy.
The last thing I want to touch on is just because you mentioned, we've said that the girl does a good job, and you said you really enjoy her. I think her acting is mostly really good. Sometimes it's too much because I don't think she's as precocious as she's acting, but her physicality isn't there. And I know she's a kid, but like just the running and stuff, I'm like, again, like you said on the first episode, but even across these rooftops, I'm like, dude. Like when that girl's jumping across the buildings that have the small gaps, I was like, she might not be able to make that.
Whoop, there we go.
Well, she is very little too for a 10-year-old. Like she's only 2 feet tall. Like I was like, this girl is 7.
That's it for parts 1 and 2. I've been Derrick.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Whitney.
Tune in 2 weeks for parts 3 and 4.
Tune in because my safety depends on it.